What is going on, everyone? Welcome to Speed Assassins. I hope everyone's having an awesome day. Me personally, I've been kind of in the dumps all week. You know, all my friends are out in Vegas at SEMA, and I've been kind of hanging out here, just kind of sat it out this year. But while everyone's out there looking at parts, I'm getting parts. So huge shout out to Bowler Performance Transmissions right there. They delivered this week my brand new T56 6-speed. Check this thing out right there. Heck yeah. So although it's fun to go out and look at parts and hang out with all your buddies at SEMA, it's pretty damn cool to be getting parts instead of being out there. So this is kind of why I forewent. It was either spend money to go out to SEMA or spend money on this. So can't wait to get this thing installed, but it's gonna have a hydraulic throwout bearing. There's the Tilton throwout bearing. This is gonna go into the Chevelle. Now right now I'm currently running a 5-speed, but I'm gonna step it up to the T56 6-speed. Now the question is do I hold off on putting this in now and wait until I do the LS motor and do them together, or do the training now and then do the LS later? So I'm probably leaning towards, honestly, waiting until I have the LS and just doing everything all at once. But it's kind of hard to have something as pretty as this just sitting around until I save up the money for that LS. So this here is just the bell housing for it. Now I may end up upgrading to a steel bell housing. This is just the factory aluminum one, but we'll see. Time will tell. Okay, so here's the real reason for this post. Is I made a pretty major mistake. I'm not proud of it, but it's probably one of my more costly mistakes that I've made. I currently drive a Subaru Legacy, just my normal daily. It's a lease. I'm getting ready to turn that back in here in about 8 to 10 months. So I wanted to get out from underneath a daily car or a monthly car payment and just have a car that I own free and clear, that I can put some mods into and just drive it around and have it be nice and reliable. I've owned Toyota 4Runners in the past, have had great luck with them, have run them up well over 200,000 miles, no issues. So I went on a search for a nice, low mileage, well-maintained Toyota 4Runner. And I came across one on eBay. And I know people are gonna say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes, but I found this 2004 4Runner with 83,000 miles on it. Talked to the seller, we communicated, we texted back and forth regularly about the car. So the car was in Maryland, I'm in Indiana. I ultimately ended up bidding on the car at the last minute. I wasn't going to, but then the bidding was in the area that I just thought, you know what, based on the pictures that he sent and the description of the vehicle on eBay, and the amount of people that were bidding on it, it just seemed like it truly was what it was listed to be. So I bid on it at the last minute. I ultimately won it, and that's when things went sideways from the get-go. The minute that I won it, they immediately wanted a deposit, which they stated up front, which is fine. But once we got into the actual payment, that's where things got sketchy. As soon as I made the payment, first of all, they had to tell me their real name. So inside of eBay, they went by one car name, and their real dealership name was something totally different. Well, I didn't know that. Nobody knows that until you go to wire the money to them. So I found out that this company was called, inside of eBay, they go by Car Holdings MD, and in the real world, they go by Trident Automotive. So I wire the money to them, and then things kind of go radio silent for a while. I stop getting communication from them. They tell me that they're getting a shipping company set up to ship the vehicle. That takes almost 3 weeks to happen. And in that time, I look them up, and that's where I find under Trident Holdings, they have an F rating with the BBB. There in Maryland. So I start to get worried. I start to kind of second guess things, but I'm still optimistic that the car is what they said it was. So fast forward to 3 weeks later when I get the car and my worst fears were confirmed. Again, no, I did not send somebody out to inspect the vehicle ahead of time. And that's where people are going to say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I get it. I should have sent somebody out, but to my defense is you can't send, it's hard to justify sending somebody out to inspect a vehicle not knowing if you're going to even win the car in the bid. So you're taking a risk spending money up front in that scenario. Probably would have been money well spent in hindsight, but the other thing is that on eBay, they had over 1,200 cars they've sold with 0 negative feedback and 100% seller rating, and they were a power seller by eBay. So those things all added up made me think I was dealing with a legit company. So in reality, they're selling flooded vehicles. They're selling just trashed vehicles. This is the vehicle that I got. From 10, 15 feet, doesn't look too bad, right? Looks like a decent vehicle. But when you start walking around it, there's dents on it. It's hard to see now because it's kind of dirty, but there's just hundreds of rock scratches or rock chips. Looks like it's followed a dump truck for most of its life. In the eBay listing, it said that the interior was in excellent condition and it was well taken care of. Now you can see all the water stains in this vehicle, and this is one thing right here that tipped me off. Rust on the seat frame right there, back here. And when I take the carpeting out, you can tell right here, I took this carpeting up and the bolt that anchors the seat belt into the floor pan completely rusted out. So you couldn't, you know, if you got to an accident, that thing would shear off in a heartbeat. But that's not the worst of it. So I started looking closer, and this is where my stomach dropped. Now you can see on the outside, looks like they've freshly painted it with black, makes it look all nice and pretty. And those were the pictures that he was sending me that made it look like it was a nice clean build. But then you look at this. This is where my heart sank. Look at that right there. That's a fuel line. And that thing is about ready to corrode all the way through. Look at the fuel line right there. Look at that. And if that's not bad enough, you come back here and you look at the frame. I don't know if you can tell on this through the camera, but see these holes right here? Those are pop rivets. This is a piece of sheet metal. Listen to that. It's sheet metal, it's bent around, and it's patching a huge hole. On this side, this is your lower mounting arm for your rear suspension. On both sides, on the back side here, it's completely rusted through. There's nothing, there's no weld, there's nothing holding this on. So any kind of lateral load would make this whole thing just shear right off. So you can see, here, I'll pop the hood for you. If you look down there, like on the A-arms where that bolt is, the frame is just completely flaking off. I mean, it is literally disintegrating. And here, I'll show you underneath it here what I'm talking about. You can see it better on this side because the gas tank's not in the way. See, look at that right there. All of that. That frame is completely rusted through all the way down. All the way down to the back side of that lower mounting point for the suspension. So as you can see, the car from a 10-foot distance doesn't look half bad. But these aren't even the wheels that I put on it, or I'm sorry, these aren't the wheels that came on it. I bought these because the wheels that they sent me are right here. And all they've done is they kind of powder coated these, but they're completely rusted out. And if you can see there, there's no tread on them. They're dry rotted. I mean, just unsafe conditions. I mean, totally horrible. Two of the tires wouldn't even hold air. So to even be able to move the car around, I had to go buy some 2010 wheels. I just plasti dipped them and put them on there, so at least it looks presentable in my driveway, so it doesn't look like a, you know, a junkyard. So obviously, as soon as I got the vehicle, I called the seller, told him, hey, listen, this is not what you said it was. I want to return the vehicle. So we started with a back and forth. Initially, they said that, yeah, we'll take the vehicle back. They wanted me to formally go into the eBay site and tell them specifically through a message that I would not seek legal action and I would not leave any negative feedback if they agree to take the vehicle back. So I did that immediately. I then contacted them saying, hey, listen, I've done what you've asked me to, and that's when they just went radio silent. Absolutely no communication whatsoever. So just to give you an example, right here is the actual listing of the vehicle. So I'm going to read a couple things real quick. It says 2000 Toyota 4Runner SR5 Sport, which Sport is a key. I'm going to show you something here in a second that it's not a Sport. 4x4 with 83,000 miles. With only 83,000 miles, this well-kept 4Runner has many more worry-free years to come. Push-button 4x4 engages and operates 100%. Okay, on a 4Runner Sport, it has a push-button all-wheel drive mode, so you can put it in all-wheel drive versus four-wheel drive, and it's a button that's right here. Now in their listing it says that it has that feature and it works 100%. I don't even have that in this actual car. So that was the first fraudulent statement claim that they made with the vehicle. So the next thing it says, all power accessories work perfectly. I've got issues with the power windows, with the power antenna that don't work. Exterior is very nice along with the interior. And then the other one is they actually go above and beyond to kind of get detailed about the quality of the interior. It says someone really took the time to always take care of this vehicle's interior. Now you just saw it has water spots and stains all over it. So it also, this is just a little thing. It said that they painted the wheels, and that in the pictures it had the missing wheel locks, but they had installed them, but they hadn't. When I got the car, it was missing one lug nut on every wheel. So anyways, what do you do at this point? So again, this is really why I'm making this video, is because at this moment I felt stuck. I now have the vehicle in my driveway. I don't have any real recourse that I knew of. So I just started doing research. The first thing I did is I went on the Maryland Better Business Bureau, started reading all the reviews about Trident, and seeing there was a pattern of activity of where there were several other people claiming the same kind of fraud that I was seeing with this vehicle. So I started out filing an official claim with the Maryland BBB. I then contacted the Maryland Motor Vehicle Association, trying to see what I could do there. So turns out that taking legal course is going to be hard, because especially this vehicle I paid $9,500 for. So anything in that ballpark, a lawyer isn't going to take that case, because their hourly rate is going to eat that up. So no lawyer really wanted to touch it. So I really had to focus in on the Maryland Motor Vehicle Association and seeing what my options are there, with them going after them locally, since I'm in Indiana. So I filed a claim, sent them all kinds of documentation. I mean, this right here is all of the paperwork. Pictures I had to send as proof and evidence, a long write-up of what their claim was with the vehicle and what I was observing in reality. So luckily, when they got all that information, they said that it warranted an investigation. They opened up an investigation. They went out. They visited them. The company was very confrontational. They actually, the investigator told me that they actually tried to intimidate two of their previous investigators that went out. So they had to send out a third investigator to get any action. Turns out that they found them in violation of 3 different marketing deceptions. So they were fined for that. So where that left me was, I had the MVA, and now this is after hours and hours of talking to people on the phone. I had talked to eBay about how they were allowing negative feedback to be removed from eBay's website, so that it made them look like they were a perfect seller with no negative reviews, no bad comments, 100% seller rating, all of that. So I probably spent 10 to 12 hours on the phone with just people in eBay management trying to figure out how this happens, because I did that even before I left my own feedback, to make sure that somebody wasn't leaving like vulgar comments, that they got them taken down that way. So I made sure I was very professional, very specific in why I was leaving negative feedback. And even after I talked to the people at eBay to make sure I didn't do any of those pitfalls, I left my feedback, which was negative, and 2 days later it was gone. So I called them back again saying, how did you guys take down my negative feedback? They really wouldn't. They kind of stopped wanting to deal with me at that point when they kind of saw that there was a pattern that this seller was repeatedly asking eBay to take down negative feedback, because I was taking screenshots of anybody who left negative feedback, and then I would take a screenshot after that negative feedback went away. So I have over 12 people that I can show them. I can show eBay they left negative feedback and you guys took it down. That's a really high percentage of people that are leaving negative feedback and it's not staying. So like I said, hours and hours, but we're talking about almost $10,000. So to me, it's worth it. The seller is banking on people not going through the hassle that I did. That they just want to wash their hands of it. They just want to chalk it up as a bad experience and move on. But I was like, no, this is 10 grand we're dealing with. They dealt with the wrong person, and I'm going to see this through till the end. So where we're at right now is I've turned the case over to the Maryland Motor Vehicle Association ruled in my behalf. They said yes, there was definitely fraudulent activity in their marketing practices and in how they described the vehicle. The biggest one being that push-button four-wheel drive working 100% when it's not even on the vehicle, let alone the rusted frame. That's just a safety concern. I couldn't even title this vehicle and have it pass. Now, Indiana doesn't have a safety inspection, but if I was in a state that required a safety inspection, there's no way that they would look at that frame and say that's safe to be on the road. Because if you're going down a road at 70 miles an hour and you have to do an abrupt lane change for some reason, that suspension is going to shear off, I promise. There's just nothing holding that frame together. So, but anyways, where we're at right now is I've taken the report that the MVA provided, and I've submitted that to the bond company that holds this particular dealership's bond. So that's really the key here, is that when a lawyer isn't an option and you're not getting any resolution out of the seller directly, most companies, most states require companies that are selling vehicles or selling anything really to be insured and bonded. And honestly, I never really understood what that really meant until now. But what happens is a company has to put up a certain amount of bond, a certain dollar amount of a bond that a third-party company holds, like an insurance company. They hold that in case there's ever any disputes against the quality of work that somebody does, something that somebody sells. So in this case, this dealership had to put up a $25,000 bond in order to be licensed to sell in the state of Maryland. So now a company's holding $25,000 off to the side in case anybody has a dispute. So that's where I come in. The Maryland Motor Vehicle Association ruled on my behalf. So now I take that report and I had to file it with their bond company, which is actually an insurance company. So now I've been talking directly with their lawyer, and she actually informed me that there's 2 other people that have gone as far as I have and have submitted claims against that bond too. Now, luckily, I was the first person in, so I'm hoping that I will get paid out in full first, and then they will have to split whatever's left. But right now, because there's multiple petitioners against their bond, we're now waiting for the Maryland Motor Vehicle Association to take it to the court to decide who gets what money. So that's really where we're at this point. And again, the reason for this video is just to warn people, like they say, buyer beware. It is so true. I absolutely should have sent somebody out to inspect this vehicle. That's a huge mistake on my part. Again, when you're dealing with eBay, it's tricky because you don't know if you're going to ultimately win that vehicle. But even, even I guess after I won it, I should have delayed payment and sent somebody to inspect it first. So that's definitely my bad. You guys can leave comments below. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, whatever you want to do. I get it. It's a $10,000 mistake on my part as of right now. But the other thing that you can do is you can go to the local Motor Vehicle Association and you can petition them to open up an investigation on your behalf if you have documentation that you can send to them to prove your case, basically. So I guess the moral of the story is be vigilant. If it's worth your time and if your money is of value to you, it's well worth my time. I've probably got 80 to 100 hours in all of this, with talking to lawyers on the phone, with talking to the MVA, with talking to the lawyer that's holding the bond for the company, with trying to just get a hold of the company themselves. I've got hundreds and hundreds of emails of trying to get in contact with them, and I'm sorry, not emails but texts, and they just don't respond. So tremendous amount of time, just a huge pain in the ass, to be honest with you. But it looks like I'm going to be getting some, if not all of my money back. But again, the main point I want to make is don't feel like you're hopeless if you find yourself in this position. There are other options other than just retaining a lawyer, because most lawyers aren't going to take these low dollar cases. The Motor Vehicle Association, if you're dealing with an automobile, is your best avenue for trying to get some money back and trying to go collect against their bond. So one of the positives to go through all of this documentation is that it looks like currently on eBay the seller has been shut down. I don't know if you can see that, but it says that they are no longer a registered user. So based on all of the communications I've had with the people at eBay and all the pressure that I put on them, asking the questions of why do they continue to allow this seller to have negative feedback taken down, it looks like that it's put enough pressure on them to either suspend or totally shut down their account, which that's a good thing. And I warned the dealership that either do the right thing, take this vehicle back, or I'm going to be the biggest pain in your ass, and I will never go away until you guys are out of business. So what makes it even worse is the guys that are doing this it's two guys basically. One's like 32 years old, other one's 21 years old. So they're just a couple of punks that are out there slinging these cars, selling them all over the country through eBay, and they're just playing the odds that most people won't go through the vigilance and the dedication and the work to try to get their money back. So I will definitely see this through, and I will keep you guys informed when I hear from the lawyer from the bond company. Anyways, I know I'm kind of rambling at this point, but hope you liked the video. Please like it, subscribe to the channel. We've got some more cool things coming up. We're going to install this transmission. We've hopefully got an LS motor coming soon. Maybe if things work out with this vehicle and I can get out from underneath my lease, there'll be a new car on the channel. So a lot of things coming, but again, appreciate your time, and we'll see you next time.